Hello and welcome to the History of Fun game. I'm Jake, and today we will talk about the new game which appeared back in 2015, but only on August 10 this year it was officially released. A wonderful We Happy Few. The game was developed by the studio Compulsion Games. Publishers were the studio Gearbox Publishing. The game is already available on Steam. You can go and buy it now. Links will be down below. And before we start the video, I'll remind you that we will give away free random Steam game keys through the whole video. So be ready to get your games for free. And now let's start. We Happy Few were announced back in 2015. The game immediately attracted the attention of the public with the unique visual style and unusual settings. We Happy Few events were to take place in the anti-utopian English town of the 16th, whose inhabitants were massively hooked on the certain drug. The developers planned to release a hardcore game in an open world with the elements of the survival simulator. It was assumed that the player will have to learn how to merge with the crowd, behavior unnatural as possible will do not attract the necessary attention, so as not to become a victim of insane drug addicts. Also, an important element of the gameplay was to be stealing from the other people's houses, so it was supposed to be extracted the necessary resources. Through idea, authors of the We Happy Few understood not all the players. Many have decided that this will be a story game in the style of the BioShock. Already at a late stage of development, the authors suddenly decided to listen to the fans. They abandoned of the original idea, cut off many elements of the survivor, and tried to make the game more linear. Alas, nothing came for it. The best thing in We Happy Few is without a doubt a unique setting. According to the plot, the Allies lost the Second World War to the Germans, and already in the early 40s, Britain was completely occupied by Nazis. For some unknown reason, Hitler massively took English children to the Reich, and this became to serve a psychological drama for the parents. At some point, residents of the small island town of Wellington Wells decided to completely forget about the tragedies of the past, and invented the drug happiness, raising the mood and erasing the memory. Thus, a new society was born, where responsible citizens are considered to be allegedly gay, mentally unbalanced drug addicts, and those who refuse to take happiness or whom it does not work have become a scum of the society and are forced to live in those holes. We Happy Few has few storylines, each with its own hero. The first is dedicated to Arthur Hastings, who served as the censor. The work of authors is ensures the Sediga scrap to the newspapers of Wellington Wells. Not one day, hero accidentally stumbles upon a note that reminds him of the brother being taken to the Germany. Arthur decided not to take the happiness, leave the island and search for his brother. The second storyline is dedicated to Arthur's ex-girlfriend, Sally Boyle, who's making the living by producing the drugs, but once she loses the business, it is in the epicenter of the pleasant events. Well, the third hero is a Scottish veteran, Ollie Starkey, who is trying to solve the problems of all the suffering in the Wellington Wells alone. We Happy Few has a small roleplay system with the pumping skills, and all three heroes differ from each other in some features. Arthur, for example, runs faster than others, plus it's easier for him to McGravis the crowd. Sally can cook unique products, and Ollie closely fights in a close combat. The plot of We Happy Few turned to be quite interesting, but we cannot say the same about the gameplay, unfortunately. The final version of the game is very different from its alpha, which we played few years ago, and not for the better. Previously, the hero was vital to sleep, eat and drink, so the locations were full of the houses which we needed to break in to search for the food. Now, the character is thirsty or hungry, he gets only minor fitnesses to stock of the endurance. We Happy Few in general can be finished never having eaten anything, which means that there is no need to prepare it in the other houses of the local psychopaths and risk the skin for the couple of apples. This made the game less stressful and terrible, and became the most of houses are simply not interactive decoration of the world of the game, and the game seems less alive now. Two sightings of the Wellington Wells did not attack a player in the middle of the street and mistook of their own. Initially, the authors convenient that the taking of the drug would be serious decision that will be strong reflect on the house of the hero, but in its release of We Happy Few, the negative effect of the happiness was negligible. In the action of the drug comes to the end, it is enough to swallow another pill. The worst things that happens from the overdose, the characters will be sick for a minute. At such a moment, you can just hide somewhere in the gateway so there is no attract attention, wait for the end of the side effect, and then nothing happens, continue the journey. removing many important elements of the game, authors have not figured out how to replace them with. As the result, the gameplay of We Happy Few is reduced to the fact where a player comes to the next capture for the quest, gets the coordinates of the place where you need to pick up something, performs the task, and then as the reward opens the new section of the map, and needs to keep on repeating till we finish the game. It becomes boring in some time. The fighting system is also frustrating. You can throw stones and darts at the enemies, but the main way to defeat an opponent is to hit him in the head with the cricket bat or an iron pipe. The melee, however, turned out to be quite primitive. The player simply beats opponent until the endurance ends, and then blocks enemy attacks until it resorts. In addition, the opponents turned out to be so stupid that you can always run away from them in the middle of the fight and hide in the bushes. 20 seconds later, no one remembers the player. But almost the main tragedy of the We Happy Few is the technical performance. There is incredible bugs, where corpses fall in the floor, NPC flies through the air, or suddenly disappear when you try to say hello to them. In the first days after the release due to bugs, the game was impossible to play. Recently, the developers released the patch with the several hundred patches, but even after this update, We Happy Few remains very raw. Despite all the problems, We Happy Few is a full AAA game, so it's necessary to ask from it a lot. Moreover, every indie game nowadays, as a rule, or through the work are much better. The sad truth is that We Happy Few is boring, and the numerous bugs was not ready for release, but it still decided to enter. As a result, we received toothless survival action with a memorable setting and a good plot, in which, however, to play for a long time does not arise. We hope the developers will hear our request and release couple more patches that will be able to correct the situation. It was our review for the We Happy Few. Thank you for being with us, playing it only in good games, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.